Good morning. Good morning, Limitless CEOs. Happy Friday. How are you? I am coming on solo today for the Limitless brunch to talk about my journey from corporate to entrepreneurship. And it feels rather apt because it has actually been a decade since I left my very last full-time corporate job. 2013, I left my six-figure salary from one of the top retailers. I had a global team. I was doing amazing things with some amazing people. But I decided to leave. And I'm here to share my story of why. And I'm also here to take you on my journey because we've had a lot of new followers recently. Hello and welcome. But also to give you my 7 lessons of a decade of being in a startup. Hello, Stephanie. Oh, thanks. I know I'm all dressed up because I'm actually going out for lunch with the girls. I'm going out to an NSPCC charity lunch today, and I'm wearing one of my favourite frocks. And I've got makeup on, which is unusual for me, isn't it? I'm normally on here in sweaty gym gear. Anyway, I'm dressed up. I'm feeling glam sham today. So let's get this party started because I am on a deadline. So, when are we going to start? Let's go back to 2013, shall we? 2013, I decided to leave my corporate job for 2 reasons. One, I had 2 small children. My children were 4 and 2 at the time. My youngest had been very, very poorly with undiagnosed celiac disease, and we'd been in and out of hospital and had no sleep at all. I was on this constant cycle of being ill and on antibiotics every single 3 months. My husband was working away from home. My children, it just wasn't working. It was just feeling very uncomfortable. There was no time for me. There was no time for us. There was no time for my health. I was missing all of the things that I'd ever wanted to do, such as sports day and parents meeting and nativity plays and, what do you call them, right at the beginning of the day? Assemblies. I missed everything, and that's not what I set out on my journey to be. I just wanted to be a mum when I was younger. I just wanted to be a mum and a teacher. And the real clincher happened when I found out how much my male peers were earning and how much I was earning. And when I had a conversation with the director about rebalancing that, the answer was no, because my primary job was my children and they couldn't give me any more work to do because of that. And I was like, right, well, isn't that interesting? So in 2013, I decided to take myself off and find another way that was going to put my joys, my passion, my children at the heart of it, my health, my relationship at the heart of my life. And I went back to opening my little black book and I went freelancing. I had been a management consultant before I had moved into one of the biggest retailers in the UK. And I went back and spoke to all of my old colleagues to see how I could help them. And I did some freelancing for a period of time. So that was 2013. 2014 and 2015, I started doing some freelancing and working and sharing my skills from a technology basis and understanding. And I had loads of fun and really connected. I traveled a lot, but I got to choose which projects I got to take and the days at which I was going to work. The other thing that I did on leaving my retail career was I was on gardening leave for quite a long time, and I'm not very good at doing nothing. And at the same time, my mum had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but it was getting worse. She was now 5 years into her diagnosis of Alzheimer's. And I used this time when I was on gardening leave to really start to look at health and how I could use preventative measures. If my granny had been diagnosed, or as my granny had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's in her 70s and died in her 80s, my mum was diagnosed in her 60s and died in her 70s, the pattern kind of was looking like I could get diagnosed in my 50s and die in my 60s, and I did not want that to happen. So I started really looking into my health and started reading every book that I could. Everything's all up there. I don't know whether you can see. Lots of books on health, lots of books on holistic health. I also started a business, one of my old colleagues from my Accenture management consulting days, and we started a network marketing business, and that was all about well-being and health. And that helped contribute to that. But it also introduced me to the personal development world, something I'd never come across before, the spirituality world. Not only that, but I look back now and it gave me such a grounding level in understanding how to start a business online. It gave me so much resilience. How many no's, all the judgments, everything. It contributed to so much of my journey and where I am today. So that takes me up until about 2015. And in 2015, at the end, my mum was taken into care. She was institutionalized. Her Alzheimer's had gotten so bad, and she had been threatening police officers and running away and doing all of the awful, wild and crazy things that happen when your mind is no longer fully functioning. And she was sectioned into a mental hospital at the end of 2015. And it was a heartbreaking time for me, but it was also a liberating time for my dad, who had been a full-time carer. And I got to see a lot more of him, which was wonderful. But in 2016, right at the very beginning, very sadly, while she'd just been moved out of the hospital, and she'd moved into a lovely palliative care home, and she got pneumonia, and the pneumonia killed her, and she died within 7 days. And my heart, oh God, it takes me right back. My heart was absolutely broken, because that's not how it was meant to be. Just as much as I'd always wanted to be a mum, my mum had always wanted to be a granny. And she never really fully got to appreciate my two wonderful boys. It still makes my... Probably because it's Mother's Day on this Sunday, I get a bit emotional, sorry. So that's what happened in early 2016. And I was in a really, really sad place. My husband was working away from home at the time. He was living in London. I hadn't been... Oh, thank you, Stephanie. I'd been prioritising my own wellness business and growing that, looking after my two boys full time. And the grief floored me. It literally floored me in so many different ways, but it made me realise that life is incredibly short. Life is far too short to not do what you love, to not follow your passions, to be with who you love. And it was a real eye-opener period of time when I recognised how much I had lost in those preceding 3 years. I'd lost my identity. I didn't know who I was if I wasn't a corporate professional. I felt like I had lost my identity as a daughter. I felt like I felt so incredibly lost, and I felt that I'd lost the one true love of my life. My mum loved me unconditionally, overwhelmingly at some times, and it left a huge gaping hole. And it took me quite a while to really recover from that. But because I've been learning so much, excuse me, I'm just going to take a coffee. I've got a tickle in my throat. Because I had been learning so much about holistic health at the time, I was able to help myself through this grief, through the practices of mindfulness and meditation that I've been teaching myself. And I brought myself a level of peace throughout that summer, and I focused on joy and I focused on happiness. And I was writing a blog at the time, talking about everything that I was learning, everything that I was reading, and how I was implementing it in my life. You can still find it. It's out there on the internet. It's called thealisandwiches.com. Talking through how I was healing from grief and managing life as a mum and managing a business online. And then at the end of 2016, my life took another turn. It was like plot twist, and everything came crashing down me as I found out that my marriage was no longer really a marriage. There was a marriage of 3, and we separated for a period of time, and my husband moved out and I looked after the children. But I was literally utterly floored. It was a huge shock. I had no idea that this was coming, and I went to the doctors to explain how I was feeling, because I couldn't move, I couldn't function, I wasn't sleeping, I couldn't eat. They diagnosed me with PTSD, clinical depression, insomnia, and a plethora of eating disorders. And they offered me lots of medication in order to help me heal myself and to be able to function and to look after my children. And I said, do you know what? I'm actually going to do this by myself. I've been looking into holistic health practices, and I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to look after myself, and I'm going to take my time. I don't want to numb myself. I want to be present for my children. So that's what I did. over the course of the next 12 months, I healed myself back to happiness using holistic health methods, using nutrition and diet and movement and exercise and connection with myself, with my spirituality, with others. I looked into so many different energy healings. I took chakra healing courses. I took mindfulness training courses. I took meditation courses. I did literally everything to help myself heal from within, rather than looking from without. And 12 months later, my husband and I had bought a new house. We'd started a new life. And I sat down in front of my dad and he said, Ali, I'm so proud of you. What are you going to do? And I said, you know what? I'm not the only person who's going to go through all of this, through grief, through reinvention, through infidelity, through all of these heartbreaking changes. And I know that I can go out there and help other women through everything that I have learned, everything that I have embodied. And I started my own business. I went back to training. I took qualifications in life coaching, health coaching, mindfulness coaching, meditational tutoring. I did all of the courses and I got the skills to retrain. But they were really only amplifying some of the skills that I'd learned already. The skills that I had learned through almost 2 decades of being in my corporate career, where what I was known for was getting the best out of people. Coaching, inspiring and leading. Bringing people together to create brilliant teams, to create big differences. That's what I was good at. When I was in my direct selling agent company, network marketing company, that's what I was good at there. I was really good at speaking and leading and inspiring and talking. I was very, very passionate about what I did. So all of these came together, and in 2018, I launched my own coaching business called Heal Yourself Happy. And then from then, everything went from better and better and better and better and better, and leading and leading and leading and doing what I loved. In the pandemic, I grew on a global scale thanks to some of my connections that I'd had through my retailing days. I went out and did live meditations throughout the pandemic on the Marks and Spencer's platform, all the way through the globe. What else did I do? I felt so good, because I felt like in a time of crisis, I had the tools that could help people, the health and the happiness that was going to really, really help people get through this pandemic and look after their health and their immunity through a really, really difficult time. So that's what I did all the way through till 2020. And then I'd been working with an amazing coach at the time to help me professionalize my business. Can you guess who that was? That was Em. And in 2021, just after she'd come back off maternity leave, we decided that we wanted to help people do what I'd been doing. We were still in a pandemic. People wanted to go online. They didn't know how to do it, where to start. So we ran the Well Balanced Business. We did a Wellness Business Mastery webinar in the April of 2021. And in May, we launched the Well Balanced Business. And we took 20 women through what we had just done for my business as Heal Yourself Happy. The strategies, the foundational strategies, and the mindset that I had fostered and created, the motivation, the leadership, and the inspiration. And we ran that multiple times. And then we decided that we would go into business together. So at the end of 2021, we launched the Limitless CEO. And then the rest, they say, is pretty much history. So that is my decade. That is my decade in my journey, really. So what have I learnt? And that's what I want to move on to next. I've got a spaniel at the moment who's nudging my hand, and I really don't want him to knock coffee all over my pretty dress. So that's a whistle-stop tour of the decade of my life and my journey in entrepreneurship. So, oh, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. So here we go. I wrote down 7 lessons yesterday, and this morning I thought of an 8. So you've got 8. So here we go. The lessons from my journey of starting up was really, number 1, the recognition that your journey is your journey, and every single piece along your journey is relevant. All of it is going to teach you something. All of it is going to give you some wisdom and insight, and it's going to contribute to your uniqueness when you come out and start your business online or out in the world, wherever you want to do it, online or offline. It is you, your journey, everything that you have taken on, your strengths. That is going to be so key. Yeah, number 1, recognizing that your journey is your journey and really embracing it. And you know what? The biggest thing that I learned from my journey is actually the hardest of times. The times when my mum died, the time when I found out my husband had been having an affair, the time when I recognized that we were in the middle of a pandemic, the time when we realized we were in a recession. These were not only the hardest of times, but they brought me the biggest of transformations and the biggest of lessons that I could help to bring forth and serve others afterwards. So if you are in one of the pits of your journey, in the hardest or the darkest of times, know that this is you will come out the other side, and everything that you're going to learn in here and everything that you're going to learn on how to get out of there is going to actually be in service to somebody else so that you can share that with somebody else. It will be you telling the story that I've just told in order to inspire, to lead, to give the golden nuggets to somebody else that they need in their part of their journey. So number one, that's it. Your journey is still your journey, and it's so important. Number two, and this could have been a trap that I fell into but didn't, is the more qualifications and certifications you have does not directly equal the number of clients and paying clients that you have. I have seen this happen so many times, and also I go back into my journey and thinking, well, do you know what? If I just get that next qualification, then maybe more clients will buy from me or come and work with me. If I just go and get that qualification, then maybe that will lead to more clients. And that's never really the case. People have never ever asked me for my certifications and my qualifications. I've got them all in a lovely folder in my cupboard behind me, but no one's ever asked me that for those at all. And people don't necessarily come to you for your qualifications, especially when it comes to consulting and when it comes to coaching. They come to you for your life experience and how you've applied that. So my point being here is start where you are. And yes, get the qualifications, but get the qualifications or take the courses, take the programs for you. I took my courses and programs for me. I took the mindfulness courses for me to help me embed mindfulness into my life and make it a way of being and living. Same with meditation. I took my first health coaching qualification with the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. It was a year-long course. It cost me nearly $5,000. I did that for me to help me improve my health and my understanding of my holistic health. I took life coaching courses to help me understand my life and how I could improve it. This is so important. When you take programs, do it for you. Listen for you. Don't go into these courses thinking, how can I regurgitate this and tell it to somebody else? Don't do this. People will feel that through your energy. Go into every program that you do to apply it for yourself. Your learning and your embodiment, because it's your knowledge when you come out the other side, and the way you tell how you have used it in your life, in your experience, is then how people want to hear it. They don't want to just hear you reading it from a book. Truth bomb there. I've been on the other side of something when that has happened before, when I've just heard someone go, they're just reading from Byron Katie and taking it as their own. Never feels quite right. So learning does not necessarily mean, or getting more qualifications does not necessarily directly impact or equal the number of clients that you are going to get. If you want to get, so this leads me on to point number 3. If you're at a point in your life and your journey where you've got the skills, you've learned a new trade, for example, like I had, I'd learned how to be a health coach, a life coach, a meditation tutor, and a mindfulness coach. I had the skills and the life skills to back me up. But what I didn't know how to do was to build a business online, how to create a professional business online. I'd already worked in professional businesses, but I didn't know how to make mine professional. So point number 3, when you've got the skills and you know that that is your passion, my passion is holistic health, it's love, it's happiness, it's life, it's joy. It's then how do I take that in and put that into a business? So number 3 is if you do want more clients and you do want to generate more income, then go and work with someone or take the programs, take the courses that are going to give you those skills to do just that. Not another qualification in something else. Go and work with someone to give you the skills that can actually help you create a business. So find someone, find a coach, find a mentor, find the one who's doing what you want to do in the way that you are doing it. You want to do it. And go and ask them how. Go and have the conversations, understand their lessons like I'm sharing my lessons with you today, and ask them how you can apply that in your life. There has not been a point in my life from my coaching career where I have not worked with a coach or a mentor at some point. I started straight away with working with somebody I met at the UK Health Coaches Conference, and she started helping me take me online, how to use Facebook, how to create groups, how to run challenges. Then I met Em, and I started working with Em, and she started to teach me how to do branding and marketing and sales. I worked with Melanie and Leah to understand how to understand energetics and use energy in my business and programs, and how to magnetize and amplify everything that I was doing. Then when Em and I started working together, we started working with Jack and Rob, with Fem. And I have not stopped working with them still. I work with them privately and I take their coaching programs all the time. I'm always learning and I'm always growing for me. And ultimately, once I've embedded that, I will then come out and teach and share that. But you will see it with me embodying it first. Stephanie, I'm loving the fact that you're putting all of these 3 points. Thank you. So go and learn the wisdom from a coach and a mentor and do it for yourself. So that was number 3. Right, here we go. Number 4, this was a really interesting one because I found it really hard coming out of my corporate professional job saying, yes, I'm a director of this, or I'm a senior manager of this, or I'm a this, that, or the other. When I started to say to people, I'm a coach or a mentor, they didn't really know what that actually meant. So number 4 is don't tell people what you do or who you are. Share with them an experience of what you do. For example, what I mean by that is, if somebody says to you when you're out at a wedding, or today when I'm off out at one of my charity lunches, if someone said, what do you do? Then I wouldn't say I'm a happiness coach, a life coach, a business energetics coach. How can you explain that in just a second? I would say to people, do you know what? I help people who are plagued with self-doubt and turn it into self-esteem. I help people who are stuck in their heads and procrastination and help them take action and help them move forward. I help people who are feeling stuck become unstuck, to feel liberated, to do what they love. I help people move from feelings of fear into ones of love. I help people create miracles in their life. Tell them about what it is and the outcomes that you actually do. That is my number 4. Don't tell them what you do. Don't give them a title. Give them the explanation of what it is that you help people create in their lives. Number 5. This is a biggie. This is so important to me. I redefined what success meant to me as loving what I do, loving who I'm with, and loving who I am in the process. So it boils down to 2 things. Rewrite your definition of success and put love at the heart of it. Because if you're loving what you're doing, it doesn't matter what happens in the outcome because you're just enjoying the process. Don't start being an entrepreneur for the money. It just won't happen, I believe. Some people will start it for the money, but I believe that if you want to make big money and live a happy life that you love, then do it for the love first and the money will come. If you just want money, go get a job. Because do you know what? Entrepreneurship is all about passion and fire and fuel and love and doing it for the hell of it and just getting up every single day because you are so passionate about what you do. So do that in the energy of love, because I am now an energetics coach. And the one thing that I say to people is do it in the energy of love. And that is the thing that is going to make you magnetic, because people will feel that. They'll want to tap into your love and tap into your passion. Stephanie, thank you so much. I love the fact that you're putting all of these notes. Don't tell people your role or title. Tell them what your transformation and the transformation you help them achieve. Yes, do it for the love, not for the money. Yes. Thank you. I'm loving all of this. I need to go back and write all of these down for myself rather than my scribbles on my notepad. Number 6, continuing on the theme of an entrepreneur, embrace uncertainty. There are no guarantees when it comes to being an entrepreneur. There are no guarantees. The only thing that I'm going to guarantee when it comes to being an entrepreneur is change. The only thing in life that is guaranteed is change. You know, we change every single day. We grow, we get older, our bodies change, our thoughts change, the world changes, the season changes, it's about to be spring, I'm so excited. The economy changes, everybody around you changes, everything changes, our children change, everything changes, and so does my hair colour. Everything is going to keep changing. So it's about embracing change and knowing that it's always going to be. You're going to have to be, I like to call it as dance, start to be adaptable, flexible, learn to dance, learn to pivot, be light on your feet, be like Anton Tubeck, and just keep pivoting and changing and just love the dance as you're doing it, embracing the change. Again, if you want stability and certainty, I would say go and get a job, but even there, you're not even going to find stability and certainty there, especially at the moment. So mindset is everything. The way you see everything is everything. Your perception of everything is so, so key. And that is especially around uncertainty. Embrace the uncertainty. Don't resist it. Don't fight it. Don't force any of it. Just dance with it. Number 7. This ties into this one. Keep evolving. We are the Limitless CEO, where CEO stands for consciously evolving owners. This goes with the adaptability and the embracing of the uncertainty. Keep evolving, keep changing, keep growing, keep learning. One of the things that I have loved about my journey is that I have never ever stopped learning. And because I've never stopped learning, I've never stopped evolving. Because I've never stopped evolving, I've always got something new and exciting to share and speak about and form my opinion on and come in and talk to you about it. So keep evolving, but also keep evolving in the right direction. And this is something I've learned from Em so much, and also my husband, they're both projectors, is have the vision of where you want to go. And ask yourself, am I evolving in the right direction? Evolving, revolving. Evolving is circular, revolving. You want to make sure that your wheel, as you evolve, is moving in the right direction. When you get in a car, your wheels go round. But you're only ever going to get to the destination if you know where you're pointing your wheels. So keep evolving, but keep evolving in the right direction by having an absolute vision for where you want in life. And this is something I talked about in Plan A. I'm not very good at having a very, very clear picture. Both Em and James is my husband, by the way, they have very, very clear visions of exactly what it is that they're going to create. I don't. I work much more on feelings, and I prefer to have really, really long time goals. When we were younger, James and I sat under the shooting stars of Fiji, and I was 20 at the time. And my vision was to have a really happy life, that we were going to be married, that we would be having children, we would live in a beautiful house in Yorkshire, and we would be loving and happy. We'd be just really happy old 50-year-olds. Well, now I'm there. I'm an old, happy almost 50-year-old. And now my vision is one of, do you know what? I want to be a happy 70-year-old with my children and my grandchildren. The vehicle to which I get there, I don't really mind. My choice is an every day of following all of the lessons that I've had, loving what I do every day, embracing the change, knowing that every single part of my journey is contributing to what happens next, and loving all of that. So that is to me, that was my number 7. But you know what? This morning I came up with another one. Is number 8, that I didn't put in the title of this at all. And it was because I was listening and going back to one of my favourite thought leaders, Dr. Wayne Dyer. Oh God, it always makes me cry this when I say this. Don't die with your music still within you. Don't die with your music inside you. And what I mean to take by that, and my gift for you to do today, is don't live with regret. If you are thinking of starting a business, whether you have left a career and wondering what to do next, or if you are in a current career or business but feeling trapped and you want to get out and do something else, hear the words of Wayne Dyer. Don't die with your music inside you. Do something about it. Don't live with that regret. One of my other biggest visions, in my longer term vision, I don't know why, but I'm always a 92-year-old woman, and I'm lying in a bed and I'm surrounded by my gorgeous family and my grandchildren, and I lie there and I'm like, don't be sad for me. Don't be sad, because I have lived the most amazing life. I have lived a life full of love and happiness, and I've done everything with joy. And that would be my dying wish for them. Don't live with regret. Follow your love. Follow your passions. Do it for you. So I wanted to leave you with that today. My 8 lessons from being skilled and taking all of my skills and all of my knowledge and creating a startup business. And I say it's a startup business, but it's really now been a decade. So this has been my 8 lessons from my decade of leaving my corporate job. And I really do hope that you have really enjoyed this session, and that you can take some of those lessons and make them your own, or perhaps they're just a reminder for you wherever you are today on your journey. And I give them to you with love. And I know that Em is going to be coming back on in a couple of weeks when I'm away on holiday, and she's going to be sharing her journey and her lessons as well. Stephanie, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so pleased that you're so inspired. Yes, take all of that. Honestly, the time passes anyway. When I realised and I started to write my timeline, and I wrote down, right, when was it I left my corporate job? 2013. Time passes anyway. A decade has passed. Gosh, If the decade that has just passed goes as quickly as the one that's just happened, my goodness. I just hope it's going to be as full as fun and adventure and change and joy and passion as this one has. And my wish is the same for you. Now, I need to get my skates on. I'm going off out for lunch with some gorgeous friends today. And I will love you and leave you and see you next week. Thank you.